A story of Merced and Livingston, how crooked cops are protected and promoted. Once upon a time, in a low, flat valley at the foot of the Yosemite Mountains, Spanish explorers stumbled upon a river and named it Merced because the sight of the water was such a blessing. The year was 1806, and thereafter a town formed on both sides of the river. Back then, transportation was a choice of walking or riding a horse in some fashion. Communication was Morse code, hand-delivered letters, or smoke signals. And back then, there was no doubt a lawman who could honestly wear the white hat and a lawman who couldn't. Fast forward 200 years. Merced, the name of the river, then town, has become the name of the county with over a dozen towns and cities. Much has changed. Communication is instant. Transportation is comfy. But we still have the white hats and the black hats. We still have good law enforcers and bad law enforcement. And by the year 2010, Merced had a white hat wearing DA, compassionate to the people, and a black hat wearing sheriff with contempt in his heart for the people. That part is just the same as the olden days. Merced had the best DA the place has ever seen. He didn't cotton to corruption. And at the same time, serving Merced was the antagonist of the story, our black hat wearing sheriff. The story goes that the bad sheriff tried many times to bring down the good district attorney, but he failed. In desperation, he had his men set up the DA's son, planted evidence, arrested him, lied in court. Luckily, the truth prevailed. But not before poor young Ethan spent his senior year of high school in jail over a personal vendetta between the sheriff and his father. The case went to trial in 2018 and the sheriff lost. Sheriff's deputy Chuck Hale was fined for lying in court, and the county paid a $500,000 settlement to Ethan Morse. Taxpayer money. 1 year later, young Ethan was shot in broad daylight and killed while running his usual Saturday morning errands. The media says it was the Mexican cartel getting revenge on our good DA, but the public, we wonder. We wonder if Ethan's death was the sheriff's final say. We wonder if the bad guys are winning. And now we are wondering why the dirty cop, Chuck Hale, is being made police chief with a fat salary. Why are the people of Livingston accepting this? Why would the 34 cops serving Livingston now want Chuck Hale as their leader? Why pay Chuck Hale more than 3 times the entire income of the average household? And why put a long-term commitment to him on the town of Livingston or the police department? He's a crooked cop. Crooked cops should not be rewarded. It defies logic. Is it possible that no one wants Chuck Hale, but that the sheriff's department owes him for taking the fall on the Ethan Morse case? The sheriff's department is showing contempt for the townfolk of Livingston in these ways. By pretending that there's no one fit among the force there to lead, by pretending to save Livingston by giving them a dirty cop, by calling fake fires and fake emergencies over the situation, by their lack of transparency, and by thwarting due process to get their way. We are the Sisters of the Valley. We take 6 vows, and one of them is a vow of activism, which requires us to hold politicians, lawmakers, and law enforcement accountable for the things they do and don't do. In this case, we are holding them accountable for trying to hoist a dirty cop on the town of Livingston. Your participation in this action in any way is appreciated. We are not journalists or investigators, but we are concerned citizens. If we got anything wrong, please comment below. Unlike the City Council of Livingston, we welcome comments from the public.